Welcome to INN CEO Talks. Joining me today is Peter Ball, the President and COO of Noram Lithium Corporation, which trades on the TSX Venture under the symbol NRM, on the OTCQB under the symbol NRVTF, and on the Frankfurt under the symbol NR71. Mr. Ball brings over 30 years of extensive experience as a mining professional at all levels of leadership. Throughout his career, he has held various senior management roles with international mining companies, including corporate finance, securities trading, mine engineering, business development, corporate communications, public relations, and marketing relations throughout North America, South America, Asia, and Europe. Noram is a Canadian-based company focused on the aggressive development of its Zeus lithium project in Nevada's Clayton Valley. The project has a current resource estimated to be 363 million tons of measured and inferred resources at about 1,000 parts per million and another 827 million tons at about 900 parts per million. So the company's long-term strategy is to build a multinational lithium minerals company that will produce and sell into European, Asian, and North American markets. Peter, thanks for joining me today.
Thanks for taking the time and listening to our story.
Well, it's fascinating. And, let's start by sharing your PEA news regarding your Zeus lithium project. Pretty impressive. When I looked at it, you can't help but say, okay, you're in good shape.
Yeah, no, I mean, this is the biggest news or the biggest day in the corporate history of Noram. I'm new here. I recently just joined, and knowing where lithium's going, the race in the United States of America to get lithium to market. The number one thing about any project in the United States specifically is numbers, is metrics, is cost to get a ton of the lithium to market. And our PEA, which we did at a base case of $9,500 per ton, lithium's trading, or lithium carbonate's trading at $28,500. So long-term forecast is $14,000. So looking at the metrics of our Zeus high-grade lithium project, as you just mentioned, we have enough tonnage to deliver lithium carbonate for 40 years in the PEA, but really there's enough resources for, I think, 195 years. So if you start doing the math of what do the numbers look like at $9,500? The NPV at a discount rate of 8% is $1.3 billion. The internal rate of return, which is really the number that a lot of the banks and a lot of the financiers look at, is 31%. And the cost, again, the cost is really key. We're putting out, we will be able to deliver a ton or produce it at $3,355 per ton, which is really nearly 1/10 of what it's trading. And if you stack up that cost and the metrics of our entire PEA, our cost is actually the lower decile, or the very far left of a chart that we actually have in our updated presentation. Even the gross revenue of the 40-year project at $9,500 is $12.2 billion. So these numbers are spectacular for where we are. And with the structure we have, it's going to be an opportunity for shareholders to really get an opportunity for a win. Big year ahead of us.
When we take a look at the lithium market, we've seen it kind of like have minor ups and downs over the last year or so, but it looks like the market is really poised to take off, especially with the announcements out of the White House in Washington around green energy and build in America. The fact that you're located in Nevada, how do all of these things factor into what the future looks like for the company?
Well, the race, there's going to be a huge crunch in the supply-demand curves for lithium over the next 15 years. And we're seeing that happen specifically in about 2025, 2030 and beyond. So this crunch is going to affect the market. It's going to drive the price of lithium maybe even higher than where it is. I've got a lot of contacts around North America and even in Asia. And the race is, U.S. has placed lithium as it's a critical mineral, and they need it to feed Tesla's gigafactory up the road from where we are. Nevada has now become number 3 in the world in lithium resources behind Argentina and Bolivia. So we're sitting next to the only lithium brine or the only lithium producer in the United States, Albemarle, and they've announced recently they're doubling production. So the race is on, and like I said a couple of minutes ago, it's all about metrics. It's all about who can get the stuff or get the what I call the white gold. And an interesting way to look at this for readers or listeners, if you take our grade of 1,000 ppm approximately, or we're actually going to produce it at about 1,093 ppm over the 40-year mine life, and you calculate that and put it into perspective of a lot of people play in the gold market, if you look at the price of lithium and you calculate back, this is about $55 to $60 per ton rock, which is about a gram or change of gold. So really, if you take our 363 million tons in the measured and indicated category, this is nearly equates to 10 or 12 million ounces of gold that we're going to be able to extract for $16 per ton. So metrics. I mean, it's all about who can get the stuff out of the ground the cheapest.
Right, and timing as well. There's just no doubt
Absolutely.
that the market needs lithium, and it needs this high quality battery grade, because all of the top producers are already demonstrating that they have I was going to say horrific, but a huge appetite for lithium, the high quality lithium.
Absolutely, and in Nevada, as listeners kind of check us out, put us on their radar. There's 3 other groups in Nevada that you can go look up. Lithium Americas, Google their name. They're $5 billion. They do have an asset down in South America, but their asset in northern Nevada, 260 miles away, is going into construction in 2022. And they've done all the work for us on the metallurgical side, because it's this lithium and clay, or this illite smectite stuff, where the lithium's kind of inside of the clay. You basically scoop it out with a truck, you agitate it or disaggregate it, you add some chemicals to it that are safe with the sulfuric acid, and it's going to be producing lithium. And another company is called Ioneer, 40 miles to the west of us, done the homework, going into construction next year, really helping us de-risk our asset. And even immediately next door, there's a company called Cypress Development, trading at 4 times our valuation. But we have a little cheat sheet in our presentation that our numbers might be as good or better on every level. They're a little bit ahead of us. They got a PFS and a pilot plant. But you know what? We'll be starting our next year, putting forward a PFS, getting a pilot plant, doing a little more drilling to upgrade the resource, and even bigger than what we have. So big year.
You mentioned flying under the radar. Considering your neighbors, how come? How come you've been flying under the radar?
Well, I think, we're the little guy, and a lot of companies, the other companies spend a lot more money on their budgets and the marketing side. We're about to do that. We're about to launch one of the biggest, not only aggressive year on the advancement and the de-risking and the hopefully re-rate of our company, but we've been working quietly, keeping our share structure intact. Nothing is better than having a nice tight share structure. And for a good example, our CEO, Sandy McDougall, he's been here for 5 years. He knows the valuation of what this company is. We were trading at $1.25 earlier this year. He has 4.5 or 5 million shares of the company. Didn't sell a share. He's not even drawing a salary. He knows what this project will be like in a year or two when we do the PFS, when we do the resource. So under the radar? Yeah, we were. We were a quiet year, conserving cash, putting into the PEA, and watching others, because we took an extra couple of months, but we gained a lot of information of seeing what other companies were doing and how we could utilize that information for free inside of our PEA. So again, I keep saying, big day yesterday when we announced the news.
Well, it's a big day, and so from your perspective, what's the number one takeaway that you want investors to go home with after having watched this interview and then make investment decisions based on that?
Well, I always say the best thing to do is do your due diligence. At the back of the presentation on the website is my direct cell phone number. Phone me. I'll answer. If I don't get back to you within a day, well, actually, I always get back to people within a day. I'll talk to you. I'll lead you through. Let's talk about the valuations. Let's talk about the where we're sitting today, where others have gone, and where we're about to go. We've got our market cap of 70. We're sitting next to another group that has a market cap of 250 or 60. We've got the same stuff. We got better numbers. We're just going to go down the path. So check valuations. Give me a call. I'll take it. You buy one share, you buy a million shares. You better get on board because we're going to have a fun year next year.
Wow. Well, thank you for bringing us up to speed today. And I'm hoping that you're going to come back in the future and share more great news with us.
Absolutely. And we're telling you what we're going to do today, and we'll be back and tell you what we did a little bit later in this, probably January, February. We're drilling in January, PFS next year. We're cashed to fully financed to do those two activities. And it's been an interesting last couple of days. I've never had so many calls from the analysts and the brokers and the bankers going, Pete, we've been following this. Great story. Let's talk. And I'm here to talk.
Yeah, that's a pretty positive signal, isn't it? And a great note to end
Absolutely.
on. Thank you very much for your time today.
Absolutely. Pleasure. And thanks for taking the time to hear our story.